it's good that you have that perspective. And I know your dad was pretty supportive, but in like a different way, right? Like he was pretty hardcore about like getting out there and getting you out there skating and supporting what you were doing, which probably wasn't a normal thing for a dad back then in that sport.
Not at all. No. I mean, my dad, I think, well, it all stems from his childhood because he had no support, but
Right.
He was a World War II veteran, and he saw what skating did for me in terms of my self-confidence and my sense of identity. And he wanted to support that. Yeah, most of my friends, they had to get rides to the skate park from my dad because their parents didn't want them skating.
Yeah. Like under the cover of darkness, like
absolutely. Yeah. A lot of them had to hide it. Yeah.
No shit. And you had did you bought a house or a duplex or something like that? Like at what age, how old were you when you had enough money to do that sort of thing?
I was a senior in high school. And my dad was worried that I was making all this money and not being responsible with it. And so he said, I think you should invest in property. And this new development had just come up available right near us.
Yeah.
And so I put a down payment down and actually moved in during my senior year, which made things very challenging to stay focused on schoolwork.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, like, I'm surprised you did any. Like,
yeah, because when you're a senior, it's like, whose parents are out of town? Who's having the party? I was like, my parents are always out of town.
yeah, I'm over here. I got a pool and everything.
Yeah. I didn't have a pool yet, but I did have a hot tub, and that was a big hit. Yeah,
hot tub is enough, dude. As a senior,
yeah, that's it.
Bro. Give me a sense of how quick the fame came for you, and like how quick the success and the money, because that has to be a lot. You look at a lot of these individual sport guys and gals, and it's like the whole world kind of comes down on them at a young age, and I really feel for these young athletes.
It seemed very quick. It came very quickly, and then it went away very quickly. But I think somewhere around age 16, like 16, I started to get people recognizing me when I was out and about. And it was weird because it was still not cool. Like skating wasn't really cool, but there was this underground movement of people that were getting into it. So I would fly to Florida for a big competition over the weekend, sign autographs, have fans, whatever, come back to school and be a ghost at school.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't cool. So at some point that started to change more, that people were interested in it, I think around 16, 17. And then it felt like we were on top of the world. It felt like this was never going to end. And it's really challenging to have that kind of success when you're, I didn't even know who I was yet. And all of a sudden people are looking at me for being an example or a role model. And I was like, role model for what? Like I'm just trying to meet girls and go, you know what I mean?
And pick up some of these big ass
ride
checks.
My skateboard.
Yeah. I remember I heard you had to put those big ass checks in the in first class or in the cabin. I don't know if you were flying first class, but
No. We were not flying. That's the other thing. Yeah. I came home from a big competition in St. Louis, and I had one of those oversized checks, and they put it up in the first class closet, with the suits. But I had to go sit in the coach.
That was cooler than to put your baggage up in first class.
That was cool.
What's your fame like? Because I know you're one of the, I was asking before you came on, I was like, is he the most famous person we had on the show? They were like, I don't know, Shaq. Like, I'm like, yeah, you guys, I mean, you're globally famous, but you also seem to occupy a niche where you can slide into a coffee shop and maybe somebody's like, are you that guy? Like, what's your kind of level of fame, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's not, I think for me personally, a lot of people think of me as kind of stuck in the years of the video game series. So when they know my name, but they don't expect this face to be old.
Yeah.
So I get that a lot, where it's just like, what? Like, oh, and they see my name and it's just like, well, it can't be him because he doesn't look like the dude from the
Let me tell you how time works, kid.
Yeah, so I get that, but more often than not, it's like, oh, hey, you're Tony. Yeah. But I can't say it's on the level of Shaq. No way.
No, I think you're up there. I mean, yeah, Shaq, he's so tall, he's so recognizable, but yeah. the Wesley
I think a lot of times I just look like some suburban dad that dresses like,
which is awesome.
Like a teenager or something. And so that kind of throws people off. But all the stories I share about people either mistaking me or not sure if it's me or saying I'm someone else. That's all those are true. I'm not making any of that stuff up.
That's so good. And obviously the Wesley Snipes meme has just gone so like, it's like part of the internet's fabric. And I wonder when y'all met for the first time, like he knew right away about the meme, or
he didn't know.
He didn't know. You had to explain the meme to Wesley Snipes.
I had to explain to him. Yeah. So
how did that go?
So that was last year at the Oscars. Yeah, dude. My friends were doing the catering for the Oscars. So we left the show early, and it was all that chaos was happening anyway. So we left the show early and we went up to go talk to them. And Wesley Snipes was one of the first people to come up the stairs. And my first reaction was, I have to get a photo of Wesley Snipes, to go with this meme thing that was happening. And I approached him and then I explained it to him and he's like, well, what's it from? What's it from? I go, it's New Jack City. He's like, what do you mean? And then I showed him the thing. He's like, oh yeah. And then I said, I had to show him what I wrote under it. Yeah. Like I have to explain the whole thing to him. So if you see photos of us, half of the photos are me showing him my phone, trying to explain what this thing is. And I was like, it would be cool to get a photo together because it shows that we have some unity, or that I was spared.
After you explained the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's such process.
It was like a 2-minute pitch.
God damn, dude. But it's good being you, because he's like, I'm talking to Tony Hawk. I'm going to sit here and we're going to see this thing through.
He was very cool about it.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.